Hey guys, Aaron Robles here. I just wanted to make a short video about kind of where things are right now with me personally, with the business, a few other thoughts that I have. I've been really trying to do more videos. I've been trying to put myself out there a little more and just involve people more into what the process is like for me, where the company's going. So I figured where else to start but here and today with where we are at. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the lows, right? It can be pretty difficult to deal with some of those lows, especially when you've been writing on highs a lot, right? You can end up on the cover of a magazine. You could have most of your events of the year be sold out. And especially when you have a constant barrage of just compliments from people who see the highlights but not the lowlights, right? It can really put you on a pedestal. Not just you to yourself, but the way that you see your company, or more so the way that you feel you should be, right? With Founder Spark, we've got a lot of highlights from last year. There's a lot of really great things that I'm very grateful and honestly a little shocked that went the way they went. And when you're riding on so many wins at the same time, people start to kind of build this profile as to who you are and what your company is, and that kind of pressure to try and keep that momentum going builds, and it adds up, and it's hard as hell to kind of want to keep that up, because as much as you're writing on the positive perceptions of you and your company, you also have to assume that the opposite might happen, right? What happens when you get a couple of losses? What happens when, your next quarter isn't as good as your last quarter? So the pressure to keep that up is so monumental. And that's kind of where I am right now, of riding the wave for so long of so many things going really well, and all of a sudden now we're having some hardships. Um, Nothing crazy bad, nothing that isn't something that isn't normal for where we are as a company. We're trying to do some fundraising for some of our events. It's our first time ever really doing that. We're building a lot of new relationships. And, for me, that takes a toll, because there are things that I'm really good at and really experienced at. And on the other side, there's things that I've never done before. And when you jump into some of those things that you've never done before, maybe things you're not comfortable with, it becomes increasingly difficult to keep the momentum up when we don't have that level of confidence, right? I'm someone who works a lot off of confidence, the energy of others. So when those things aren't present, I can kind of get lost in the shuffle. And honestly, that's where I am, where I've had a few days this week that I just, I don't know that I'm the one to do this. I wonder how much of it was just me riding a temporary wave that wasn't going to last. Is this a real business model that's going to work, or did I just get lucky for long enough during the right time? These are all questions that you deal with. And, I tell people all the time, these hard obstacles are the things that keep you earning it, right? I mean, if you want to manage a multi-million-dollar business, you need to be able to handle the obstacles that come with running a small business. If you can't deal with the small things, how are you going to ever deal with the big things? We're always being tested, and we're always being pushed to do things we've never done, and to see how we react when things don't go our way, right? So I consider those tests from God, the universe, whatever it is, to make sure that we're preparing for that growth that's going to happen. Much easier said than done, though, right? It is much easier for me to give that information and wisdom than it is for me to take it. And I think that's a lot of the issue with me and a lot of other people, right? We're not used to having to take that same advice that we give. And, talking to Taylor the other night, she was that good reminder of we've had so many wins in the last few months that we're bound to have a few difficulties. And like I said, there's nothing catastrophically wrong. It's just we're entering new fields that we don't know much about, that we don't have a lot of experience in, that is going to take time to build momentum there. And that's hard for me. I think that's hard for everyone, but as a recovering perfectionist, I have a grand vision of how I see things happening. And when I can't execute on those the right way, when I get caught up, and ultimately being, a founder and a CEO, it all falls on me, right? I have to take care of my team. I have to take care of the people around me. And with such a public company, I have to do right for the people that attend my events, for the people that count on Founder Spark for whatever it is that they count on us for. That massive responsibility can sometimes be overbearing, especially if you couple that with, I don't actually know what the hell I'm doing, right? And at the end of the day, it all comes down to me. The success of this company is created by many, but ultimately that responsibility falls on me, and I take that very seriously. So during moments of weakness, when I don't feel as if I'm doing the best job, or if I'm the most qualified, or if I'm leading us in the right direction or maybe the wrong direction, it can be overwhelming and it can be difficult. So I've been trying to really talk my way through this. I've been trying to take the advice that so many of my friends and speakers give, and that I even give, right? So, I've been very honest with people about where I'm at. I've been trying to really rely on my network and those people who say they care, and giving them an opportunity to, come and help me during this, because I tend to handle some of these things alone, right? Because I don't want to wallow in my misery with anyone else, or I don't want to be a burden. And I'm at the point in my life where I recognize that that's not how those things work, and that I shouldn't be that way. But again, it's easier to practice that than it is to just talk about it. So, I don't come with any sort of wisdom or, hey, here's something I dealt with and figured out. I'm dealing with that right now. I am unsure. I am not the most confident, and I'm nervous, and I'm scared to shit, because there's so much that I don't know how it's going to pan out. There is no assurance that anything is going to work out, and that's always the risk that we assume when we start anything. But when it all comes crashing at the same time, it can become so overwhelming and scary, and all of these feelings. And ultimately, I have to trust myself, that I can get myself out of these situations and into better ones. I have to trust my team, that they have my back, which they've been very vocal about making sure that they tell me. People from the community who spend time with me and just give me all their wisdom, knowledge, support. I have great advocates that have not only given me, support, but have gone out and put their connections to work and put money in the right places and have done so much for us. And I know I'm not alone, and I know I have a team of people around me. So I guess I'm working really hard to make sure that I keep my team involved with what's happening with me, with how I feel, that I'm being transparent, because I don't want to build a culture within my company and even within the community of you deal with your problems on your own and you don't let anyone else see the bad side, because that's literally all I talk about, right? Vulnerability. But it can be hard for all of us in our own way, because we all have our things, we all have the things we don't like people to see, right? And like I was saying earlier, when you're in a position where you're regarded very highly by some, I still don't understand when people come and say some of the nice things they say about me, because I've been working this hard since I was 16. I'm 28 now. So that's like over a decade of me just busting my ass trying to find out what that calling is. And I've never been more sure than now that this is what I was meant to do. I've never been more sure that Founder Spark is a culmination of years and years of me learning and growing and discovering what I'm actually meant to do. So now that I've built this thing that is so popular and growing, and just the positivity that comes, if you've ever been to one of our events, I mean, you see the energy. The energy is built by all the people that are a part of it. It's really community owned. So me trying to make sure that I don't take that stress and only put it on myself, because that's not fair for me. It's not fair for other people, right? Whether they're in my company or they're people who are affected by what we do. Um, Without a doubt, people are supportive of me. They're supportive of what we're doing. They're supportive of what Founder Spark stands for. And it's important for me to make sure that I'm reaching out and doing those things that I tell other people to do. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about where I'm at. And I know I'll get over it. I know things will be better. And I know that certainty will build, right? February could be a phenomenal month. There's a lot that we have in the books, there's a lot that we're doing, and the future is promising. But I tend to be impatient with myself. I tend to be unsatisfied with the progress I've made and always think about the progress I could be making if I had more of this, or if I knew more, or if I had whatever it is. So it can be really difficult for me to take where I am as a win and realize that, what I'm doing and what the community is a part of is an incredible thing. But I guess this is me putting myself out there because I know this won't last. I've been incredibly blessed and honored the last year or more for the opportunities that I've gotten to spread our message and grow as a company. I mean, we're 5+ people strong, putting in work every single month. The people I've met, the speakers that I've connected with, things we're going to do in 2020 are just phenomenal. And it's this just huge growth pattern of where we're going to go. And the likelihood of that not working, or Founder Spark shutting down, or things not working out for the better are extremely unlikely. But we tend to grab that little thread and just pull on it and pull on it until that becomes our reality. And that's the reality that I've been living in over the last, few weeks, honestly, right? Because we're looking for sponsors, which I've never done before. We're forming new connections. There's so much that we're jumping into at the same time that we're inexperienced in or don't know how it's going to pan out. And that sort of uncertainty just is frightening for me. But what I need to be doing is I need to be able to take a step back. I need to see the impact we're making. I need to realize the assets that I have, the people, the energy, all of these things that are constantly there and are foundationally solid, that far outweigh the things that are in question right now. And I'm very thankful for all of the people who I've been able to talk to, who I'll continue to talk to, because, I say this a lot. There's conversations you walk out of just almost floating with the type of energy you get. And I'm ready for the next Founder Spark, because those are the days that I feel the most fulfilled. Those are the days that I go to bed understanding that I can do anything because I have the support from everyone who makes this possible. I see the connections. I see the impact that those events make. And I believe in it 110%. So that's where I need to keep my eyes on, because that's really where the magic happens. That is only more verification of us heading in the right direction. And I think that we've been very intentional on keeping our events honest and vulnerable and 100% driven on what the value is, right? I always say that if I'm going to get 50, 20, 100, however many people show up to my event, I need to make this worth it for them, because we have businesses to run, we have children, we have families, we have other obligations. So if I'm asking you to spend time with me, what is the value that I'm giving you? What is the value that I'm adding to your life? So we've been very intentional about that, and I think the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive in terms of that's what we're good at. And that's what makes Founder Spark work, not how good I am at other things, although they are important. Um, I think sometimes I tend to focus on those things that I'm not yet good at, instead of focusing on the things that I am good at and continue to be good at. So just wanted to spend some time, again, being honest about that, being vulnerable, and just reminding everyone from my own example that it's okay to feel this way. You know, you don't always need to feel positive, right? And it's hard to sit in those uncomfortable feelings. And I've been feeling this, especially with the holidays, especially with the inaction and the I don't know what's going to happen next. But that's okay, and it's a part of the journey, right? We can't always feel great, because moments like this make those moments of positivity and good influence, like they make it so much more worth it when you know how low you can get. But a reminder to myself and to anyone else out there who's dealing with this stuff, especially now that it's cold out, especially that we don't get as much sunshine as we used to, it's okay to feel not okay. It's okay to feel like you can't or you won't. But the most important thing is to remind yourself that it's temporary, that you have people around you that care, that you have people around you that are there to support you, and don't just say that, but they mean it. And I think when people say those things, it's your job to seek out that help that people offer all the time, because they're either going to show you they're sincere and they are there to help, or they're not. And either way, you get an answer. But it's been less of me giving myself the narrative of the kind of support I have and calling on those people who have shown themselves to be supportive. And, you know, Taylor's so phenomenal at making me feel better when I feel overwhelmed. Um, Partially because she understands so much of what I'm dealing with, and she's able to speak to a lot of it. Even those people that don't know the things that I deal with every day, or that don't know exactly what it is that I'm struggling with, they know me as a person, and they understand the kind of tenacity I have, the kind of work that I put in, and really what I'm all about. So even those people are so helpful and so encouraging. So I want to remind people that when you tell someone what you think about them, when you compliment them on things they're good at, or all of those, like, I am so humbled and honored with every single compliment I get, with every congratulations, with every suggestion that people give me on how I can make Founder Spark better. Like, I'm great at taking criticism. I've been a designer for over 10 years, so I can hear it all, but it really shows me that people are affected by what we do. It shows me that they are moved and changed and that they're growing. And for me to be able to be any part of that is such an honor. So don't forget to tell those people that are helping you or changing you for the better that they're doing it, because everyone struggles, and it's impossible to know when they're struggling or what they're struggling with. But I feel very secure no matter what state I'm in, understanding that I have that support system that a lot of people also have but don't put into action. So I want to be very intentional with that. And I want everyone out there who has ever felt this way, feels this way currently, or eventually will, to remember that there's people out there who want to help you. And there's people out there who will be pushing for you, not just in thoughts and prayers, but they will move the people and do things to help you grow. You just have to ask. And a lot of us get in a mode of, well, if they cared, they would come out to me. But we're all busy. We're all dealing with our own things. And the best thing we could do is, if you need an encouraging word, or if you need just to get out of your head, you need to ask for that. And people will show up. So I want to just make sure that I remind myself of that. I want to make sure that I can share this moment, because I think, as difficult it is for me, it's a learning moment for me and for all of us. And it's that reminder of, we're not doing this alone, but we have to choose actively to involve other people. So hopefully everyone else is having a great January. Despite all of those things, there's so much excitement for so much that we're doing this year. So we'll have announcements throughout the next few months as to some of the things we're releasing. Thanks to everyone for the love and support. And I'm excited to have a prosperous and growing 2020, given all of the tremendous things that we learned last year. So thank you all, and have a fantastic day.